And even though we're going to be talking about money and finance and cash flow, here's the good news. This isn't going to be at all about scrimping, saving, or budgeting. It's not a message about sacrifice. See, in a religious context, sacrifice means to make sacred. That's a great thing. But almost any other area of life, when we hear the term sacrifice, it means giving something up. And a lot of times, great things that we give up, including quality of life, in the name of a better life one day, someday. The problem is, when does one day, someday actually get here? See, in 2006, I remember it was January, and we're sitting there accounting for everything that was going on in our life, and I had started in the financial business in 1998, and we're just like counting our blessings, feeling so good about everything. All the hard work was starting to pay off, and then everything changed June 9th. June 9th, I got a phone call on my home line. I don't even know my home line. My wife still says we have to have a home line because maybe every other cell phone melts down and our kids are going to need us at that one specific moment, right? I don't even know if they know how to use that home phone, or know what the number would be. But at the same time, I'm getting these calls in the morning, and I'm just not answering because I'm just confused as to what the noise even is. Like, what is that? So I finally pick it up, and it's one of my business partners. His name's Mike, and he says, hey, the company plane left St. George, Utah last night with our other partners, Ray and Les, on it, and no one's heard from them. Now, I'm an optimist, so I was thinking, well, maybe they just went to Vegas. That's not far from St. George. Maybe they just took a detour. But once I turned on the news, it had been confirmed that the plane had crashed into Utah Lake. And see, these guys were 35 years old at the time. Right? So for the next 4 months, all I did was work. And I worked as hard as I possibly could. And I came from a coal mining family, so I knew how to work hard. But at the same time, a lot of my life was starting to slip away. I gained 22 pounds during that time. I had a 1-year-old son that was born in 2005. I rarely saw him because he was usually asleep by the time I left. And by the time I got back, he was already back to sleep. And I remember being so exhausted trying to keep everything together and make it happen and do whatever it took to honor their legacy at the sacrifice of my own. See, one of my partners, Les, a month before he died, he pulled me aside after this retreat and he said, you know what? I can't imagine life being any better. I love my life. I love my life. And so at this point, I wasn't really loving my life anymore. I'm just exhausted, and then we're going for Thanksgiving to this little town of Price, Utah, which is a 2-hour southeast drive from Salt Lake City where I live, and we're going to go visit my family, and it's like the first break I've had. And on that drive, we're going through the canyon, which my wife and I have our best conversations in the beautiful mountains, driving in the car, and it starts out pretty awesome. She's telling me I was an extraordinary businessman. I liked hearing it, not going to lie, She told me I was an extraordinary radio show host, and she used the word extraordinary several times until she looked back at my son in the back seat of our Bentley, which shows and demonstrates all the wealth, but not really how we were really feeling at the time, and looks back at me and says, but you're just an ordinary husband and father. And I got pretty emotional instead of getting defensive because she was right. See, and that kind of thought of sacrifice is what is ingrained in a lot of us when we are taught that hard work will get us there. The problem is with hard work and a bad philosophy, it still equals bankruptcy, frustration, starting over. It means a lot of times in the entrepreneurial world, getting on a treadmill and just running faster but not getting further ahead. So instead of talking about sacrifice and scrimping and budgeting, we're going to look at a different way to do this of injecting cash into your life right now.